Hello and welcome to the Dutchin channel. It's Wednesday, the 1st of May 2024. It's 9:15 in the evening, and welcome to the results show. We're going to look at the results today from Ascot, Wolverhampton, Pontefract, Brighton, and Kempton, and we'll show you how we got on at each meeting. But first of all, we'll look at today's sheet, and it was a loss today. If you can see in the bottom corner now, because what I've done, I've put the banner at the top. Hopefully that'll be more away from what I want to be able to show you at the bottom from now on. So we made a loss here of £79.32, but it's not as bad as it reads, because we started off today with Ascot, and it was pretty much a disaster at Ascot. We did have one winner there, but that was basically it. So we made £148.63 loss at Ascot. So we're already chasing the day. It wasn't a great start for us. And then we move over to our second meeting, which is Wolverhampton. Only 4 bets here on the card. We did make a very slight profit of £23.63, which was better than nothing. And we did quite well at Pontefract, but if you look at all the starts that we had here, the first race at Wolverhampton was a £23 return, nothing at Pontefract. Ascot was a disaster to start with. And before I knew it, I was already chasing around £300 to get back. So not did at one point I get in front. Because as I was speaking to somebody yesterday, Ian was his name, he watches the channel quite often. And I listened to what he had to say really, and I did used to do something on a similar basis, but once I try and get 3 in front, then that's the time to stop. But I didn't get an answer out of him on the last bit I said to him, but what happens when you lose the first 3 races? Well, like everything else, you have to carry on when you're down. But where do you draw that line to think to yourself, right, well, that's it for today, I've lost. So that's another thing that we need to try and sort out. So I never once got in front today, but I remember hitting, I think it was 340 odd, I think, behind. But I managed to get most of it back. So I think I did pretty well, really. You know, you look at the afternoon at Pontefract after the first race, and we made £113.35, so that was okay. Brighton wasn't great, I've got to be honest. This was another one of those twilight meetings. This wasn't great there. £130.50 loss. And Kempton, well, again, the first race didn't come in. I was mostly chasing my tail all day, really. And a £62.83 profit did come from the final race of the evening there. So I'm not going to grumble with the start of the first day. You know, points wise, we're talking 1.6 points. So it's not the end of the world, and we fight another day. The system is still working well. If we look at the amount of wins that we took today, which was 1, 2, 3, 4. I'll class that as a win because it was over the money back. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So you take it that you've had 11 wins, it still isn't bad. And the bets that we had today was 23. So I forgot to write that in, but yeah, we'll put 23 races in there. And we've pulled 11 winners. So as we got that profit yesterday of 254, you just need things to go your way. And again, we didn't really get much go our way, but what we're going to do now, I don't need to show you the profit and loss sheet because today is the 1st. So that's the only one we need to do there. But we will go in and have a look at the races as they finish, basically. Now you can see at the bottom, I did mention this yesterday, but the blue that I use is basically the meetings and then the end. The red, that's pretty straightforward, that's a straight loss. The light orange, which I have the first race as well, but when you click on them, they sort of just change colour a little bit. So I've got 3 light orange, which means we got a return, but it isn't the money back. And these dark orange ones are the ones where you get money back and it's better than what you staked. And the green, but that's pretty obvious as well, that's your winners. So we'll start with the first race at Ascot, and I say the first race, when I say first race, I mean like the betting race. Because don't forget, every race that we bet in the horse must have run at least 3 times on the flat. So every race you will notice that. So Coltrane was the winner of the 215, and we had so much of a bad amount to put on it at 27 pence. Might as well have thrown that in the bin, really. But that was a part of a win, I suppose, if you look at it. Then moving into the second race, Just Hour, that one at 10.5, but you'll see again, we had the second, which was A Day in Devon. I will go through all these reds at the end and total up how many horses that we had finished second. And then into the 325, this was another one I didn't really fancy, that was Wolverhampton. And again, we had the second there. Then we won the next race. This was the outsider of the party, Isle of Lismore, 16.6. I will grab one of these really big winners at some point. We were unlucky yesterday with a 133 on Betfair that came second. And then the last race we bet in at Ascot, went off favourite. And yeah, you got it, Roaring Success there, the second selection. Well, not the second selection, I meant to say that the horse that finished second, we had backed it. So that was a poor Ascot. And then we went into Wolverhampton, 225. This was the odds-on favourite. Well, actually, it returned on Betfair at 2.02. But if that would have been our first selection, I wouldn't have been sure if we were going to back it or not, because we said we weren't going to back any odds-on favourites. But 202, you've got to draw the line somewhere. Perhaps 199 is an odds-on favourite and the 202 isn't. Then into the 335, we had this one our favourite at 401. This was Go Go Ubari, and we had the second there if he was a forecast backer. And then into the 410, sorry about that, into the 410, 4-horse race. Yet again, I don't pick a winner from a small field, but we did have the second. And then in the 445, didn't really have much form to go on this one, but they backed it. And we had the first and second straight there, and Granny B was 40.2. So that would have been a nice straight forecast if you'd have backed that. But that was our top selection that came in there. Not had many of those over the day today. Then in the 205 at Pontefract, Princess Corinne. This was a favourite I never fancied at all. The one that I did fancy and mentioned that I did fancy was Exalted Angel. Ran a poor race. Poor finish last out the back. Then in the 315 at Pontefract, Giselle's Defence. This was another one that went off favourite, but luckily we had that to finish third, so that was a winner for us. Got us back in it. And then in the 350, I thought to myself, oh no, here comes that On the River, that's going to steal it. But Pearl Eye kept on galloping at 8.88, and that got us back in it even more. Then in the 425, I couldn't put all the money on Dubai Hills, but what we put on there was enough to make a profit. But I really wanted Mark to come out on top there. And then in the 535, She's Got Bottle, that comes through and wins. That's another favourite. So when you look at the races today, you can see by the amount of favourites that I'm not really a favourite backer overall. We may have one in the frame there somewhere, but the ones that we tend to leave out are favourites. And of course, when you do leave the favourites out, you've got more selections. It doesn't mean you've got more of a chance. So that was the end of the Pontefract meeting. Then it was time for the two evening ones at Brighton. Wrestling Revenue, I never fancied that Julie won, but we did have the second there, Say You'll Never. Then this was another favourite that obliged. This was Juan Torrena. I've got it as my sixth selection. It wasn't a lot of money to come back on that, but something is better than nothing if you're going to lose. I did manage to get the second and third as well. And then in the quarter 7, the Conqueror came through very late to win this one at 6.34. Wouldn't have made any difference because I didn't even have the second and third. So that was a complete blowout race. And then into the 7.15 at Brighton, finish of the night really. I ended up with the first and second, but Uncle Dick beat Otago, but I don't know, a few strides before that, it could have been a totally different result. And that was Mia Nichols. Great ride, really, to get that up to win by a very short distance, I think it was. I wasn't sure what that was in the end. And then we carried on at Brighton into the 7.45. Here's Sadie, won at 7.4. I didn't have that, and I didn't have the second either. So that was a poor race. And then at Kempton, we only had 4 bets. We did have a 5th bet in between here, but I deleted it because there was a horse right down the bottom that only had 1 line of form. So I had to delete that. I did put that out on a video when I put the Kempton one out, but it's the first time I've mentioned it on here from the ones that I put on last night because I didn't realise. So I cancelled that one. And the first race at Kempton that we betted in was the 6.25, and Letaba was my selection to finish last, and it was second favourite. That Jubilee obliged, and we had the second. Then we went into the 7.30. This was pretty much another favourite I never fancied. That was J Ash. I had that right down the bottom there. And our second selection, Mr. Baloo, came through and won at 8, so I was happy with that. We needed a strong finish here because we were still a bit down. And then the 8.30, the favourite here, didn't matter if it had a held on, Drama, run well. But then this Kajatan came through and won it really, really impressively. So I was happy that that came on and won. That was a full return. And in the last race, it's just finished at 9 o'clock. I really wanted our top one to hold on here, Bird Dubai. But Wild Waves come to the front. It wasn't going to get headed. And that sent favourite backers home happy with the last one coming in at 4.61. So other than that, I don't really say that was a bad day today. I did pretty well getting back into it. And as I say, if you look at the losers here that we've had during the day, We've had one there that finished second. That was a day in Devon. Then we had Bucker Bay. That was second. Roaring Success was second. Then we had Fidelius. This was second. Then we had Westmorian that was second. Then we had Say You'll Never. That finished second. Then that was one of our first losers, proper losers. And that was another proper loser. And our last one that crept in the frame there was second. So out of the 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 proper losers that we had today, 7 of them finished second. So if you look at that, we only lost £79. And don't forget that's a £50 stake, so it would be roughly 1.6 points. All we needed was one of those 7 that got second to have won, and there would have been a profit of 0.4 of a point. So looking back, if you go back on the videos from yesterday where we had a really good day, there was still a lot of losers there that finished. I think everyone finished second yesterday, the ones that lost. And then the 2 days before, where we had 20 winners from 40 and 17 out of those losers out of 20, 17 finished second. So I know this system is pretty much working. I'm very happy with it. There will be a day where we get hammered, I'm sure about that, but there will be more profitable days. But as I was talking to this guy called Ian, it was basically, if you get something like 3 winners on, well, not necessarily on the trot, or once you've hit that 3rd winner and making your 3 points up, maybe you should stop for the day. Sounds right. As I said, I have done that before, and then it gives you the rest of the day to yourself and complete the racing for the day after. So yeah, maybe that is the way to do it, but we'll see how we get on tomorrow. As I said, I never once got in front today, and you can see by the times of the bets that we actually had struck, right, that we were in a lot of difficulties. But luckily, as I say, at Pontefract we had a bit of a run there, and the last 3 at Kempton as well, and a couple at the end of Wolverhampton. So it wasn't all bad. I'm happy with that day, and I've been happy maybe over the last couple of weeks, because we had to get back the money from the start of April that we had got into a mess with, really. So now I'm really happy that we can move on from this today. And after I've finished this video, I will put up the selections for tomorrow. But when I do put these up for tomorrow, I can't do it in the way that I bet on them. I have to do that when I do them tomorrow morning. Like I done this morning, I did the exchange. That's, if you look at the race that's showing at the moment, if there was only 7 runners, I'd just be giving you 2 tips for tomorrow. I'd just say to you, for the Kempton 625, you're going to want Semsa and Artavian. I would just give you a couple of selections. But really, I've backed 5 in it, but I can't tell you that when I'm putting them up in the evening, because it's all about the prices at the end, maybe 5 to 10 minutes before the off. So I won't be able to tell you how many selections I'm going to be doing. And when I upload everything in the morning and we use the Matchbook site just to do the exchange, again, it's only information purposes, because those prices 5 or 10 minutes before the off will totally change. And don't forget that over round figure in the morning may be 105, whereas nearer the race off it's going to be between 101 and 102. So it's going to make a lot of difference to the selections you've done. I just show you that in the morning just in case you want to learn how to do Dutching. There's a lot of people out there that know how to do it, but I do get a lot of questions on how it's done. When I get a bit of time where we haven't got races every 5 to 10 minutes, because you need to be on the ball on doing this, because it's not something you can just say, oh, I'll come back and do that race a couple of minutes before the off, because it takes longer than that to do it. So once we get a day where we may have just one afternoon meeting where it's one every half hour, or in the evening where it's one every half an hour, then I can show you how it's done by doing a live bet. I couldn't do it tonight, even though we did have a little bit of time between a couple of these races, because there's other things you need to do as time closes in towards the end of the day. It's basically I need to be doing that at the start of the afternoon, I would think. So once I get time, I will do a video on that. But other than that, that's enough for the results show tonight. As I said, we've started with a loss of 1.6 points for the month, but it's no way like the start was for April. And I really fancy our chances of making a good profit for this month. You know, we've got that different system, and perhaps the cash out as well that we're going to add into this will most probably help us. But thanks for watching this, and as I say, if you want some selections for tomorrow, I'm going to be putting them up next. So thanks for watching.